Welcome to part 2 of my Koszalin video. In the first part, we focused very much on the main city of Koszalin, the second biggest in Western Pomerania. Here we looked at the parks, we looked at the buildings, the architecture, the history, some bars. We looked at a lot. And people were surprised I wanted to do a second part, but I felt I had to. So the second part is going to take us outside of the city. So we're going to be going to Helmgura, which is a mountain with a nice shrine on the top. And we are going to go to Mielno, which is a lovely coastal resort, which, though technically is independent of Koszalin, is very strongly linked. So I hope you enjoy this video. Let's see. Dzień dobry. Welcome to a Brit in Poland. This channel has a number of missions. The main one, to create a video for every place on this list. Though I could use your help. The help could be in a number of forms. You could like my video. You could subscribe to my channel, you could follow me on Facebook or Instagram, or you could donate to my Patronite account. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoy the video. So, first off, we are going to take a bus over to the eastern side of Koszalin. It ended up very near the water park, which they advertise a lot in this city. Probably they think it's a main attraction. And you basically just walk through these nice kind of paved park areas, and you can see there's a nice kind of procession way there. This is the aforementioned water park. I'm not such a big fan of these places, but you get them quite a lot in Poland. I've probably seen about 5 or 6 just walking through various cities by now. But it's a nice build-up to where you're going, and I found this wonderful little bit of artwork, a nice little sign for Koszalin. Now, when you enter, it's all very level ground, at least initially. What you'll eventually find is there are actually a number of hiking spots in this kind of mountainous, kind of hilly area. Sadly, I didn't really have the time to fully take advantage of the various hikes and trails that you could go on. But I did get up to the highest point, Koszalin. And now this hill is 133 meters above sea level. And at the top, you have this incredible observation tower, which was actually built back in 1888. It's a little bit of a climb. I'm not going to lie, there's no elevator here. And from what I remember, it was, 5-10 zloty to get in, so make sure you have some cash on you. And it starts off with this rather narrow staircase with no handrails, so good luck with that one. And you progress up and you have even more stairs. So expect to be a little bit out of breath, unless you're incredibly fit by the time you get to the top. And this is your reward. You have a full 360-degree view of the surrounding area. So you see here, this is the city of Koszalin from up high. If you look far enough into the distance, you can see the sea. And man, this was a labor of love to go up those stairs. But I always love a wonderful observation tower, and this is definitely the best that Koszalin had to offer in this regard. And it was well worth the journey. It was about 40 minutes or so once you kind of got out of the city to reach this summit. And it wasn't too arduous, a few hills. And then what you find next to this observation tower is perhaps the true place for many people to go, which is an old chapel. And this is a chapel of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And it was actually built around the turn of the 12th and 13th centuries. And it is a major site of Christian worship, or at least it used to be. And many people would pilgrimage to reach here. And actually, you'll find that there are quite a few pilgrims from history that are buried here. They chose this as their site to be. I think that's rather sweet, or some people might find it weird, but I think it's a nice little touch. And it was lovely to get outside of the city, and I always appreciate when you have some decent nature, which is pretty much within walking distance. I didn't have to take the bus, but I wanted a bit of time. Here are some of the hiking trails that you can take. You have a bit of variety, but none of them are particularly short, we'll say. But as with all these hiking trails, you can see the blue marker there. They're pretty well signposted, pretty easy to follow. When you first get into the kind of woodland, you're not really on any trails yet, but it kind of tells you the direction where all the trails start. And this was, one of those rope park thingies. But we couldn't stay in Koszalin forever, so let's go to the bus station. And from here, you can get, there are a series of buses that go to Koszalin. Just checking my paper. Rokład Jazdy. And you will find a schedule for this in the tourist office. And we're basically going to take this bus up to Mielno. Now, Mielno is a kind of town, of a city of its own right. It was actually appointed a city in, where was it? It was in 2017, so relatively recently. You have this lovely statue of a deer here. And it is basically a typical coastal town. It actually, it dates back as a kind of a village to the sort of 13th century, where it was traditionally a fishing village. As you can see now, it's more about amusements. It's a big family resort. And from what I was told by the locals, during the summer, it gets pretty crazy. In the centre, you have these 19th century villas, and somehow I missed it, but there is like a 15th century Gothic church as well. So yeah, I always regret when I make these videos and I learn about something that I missed. I don't think that's the church there. That's an upside down house, and you see a few of these in the region, and dotted around Poland actually. Also, to talk about the history briefly, there was apparently an old Slavic settlement dating back to the turn of the 9th and 10th centuries. Very little evidence these days, though there is like a wooden village, apparently. It's something else I missed, which you can get to. So maybe do a little bit better research than me before coming to Mielno. The main promenade, you were greeted by this incredible walrus sculpture, and we finally get to the sea. Now, of course, this is the main reason that people are coming to Mielno. It is a beautiful spot with nice, lovely, long, sandy beaches. I was here in June, a little bit before the main season kicks off. I think the main season tends to kick off in July, really. But it was still very hot, and I had to stop for a bit of a respite. So I went to this place called June, and it was quite a fancy bar attached to some resort, basically. So I had a couple of cocktails here. I think I grabbed a pizza as well before making my way back onto the tour. So again, more lovely views of the sea. And it was a very relaxing day, I have to say. You have these wonderful sort of promenades and walkways for you to go along. It really is a place to just escape, to sit, relax, just soak in the atmosphere. I didn't really go on the beach for some reason. I think I just I didn't really have time. I definitely didn't allow enough time for this trip, hence why I seem to miss things. But by the sea, you have the typical Polish kind of woodland separating it from most of the city. And we have this aviator's sculpture up here, and I think if you go a little bit further, that's when you get to these kind of wooden huts and things like that. You have, you know, a bit of a port, so a lot of kind of fishing boats. And yeah, it was a nice place. You know, some colourful buildings, lots of arcades, things to do, a few bars, a few clubs. So yeah, I think it's the kind of place maybe it would have been better if I came with some friends during the peak season. And here's an example of one of the buses that takes you. So we're heading back to Koszalin now, and this actually marks the end of this video. It was just a short one because I wanted to kind of show you a little bit what you can do in addition to the main city of Koszalin as a further attraction to come to this wonderful area of Poland. And in the next video, well, the next one of the next videos, we will be going to Kołobrzeg, another seaside town. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe, like, etc., etc. And do zobaczenia.